first just talk about the this shift in consciousness that is so elemental, or so so necessary for people to be able to get out of this day-to-day grind, or dead living, if you want to call it. People who are just going through the motions in life.
Right. I love the way you characterize that. Actually, you're the first person who ever has who asked me a question about this, and it is being dead, because really I talk about learning to live in the zone. I call it the millionaire inner zone. And in that zone, truly, this will sound fantastical, but it really is true. Anything is possible. Because when you get in your zone, you're in a state of peak performance. And you start having the connections with I live in this place all the time. And here's what happens. I want to tell you how to get in it, because it took me years to figure this out. And there are 3 steps, keys, that getting into your peak zone. I call it the millionaire inner zone, anytime, anywhere you want. Now imagine that you can get into this zone where you're going to automatically start attracting and being attracted to the resources, the people, the money, the opportunities that you need to build and grow your business, because that's who I work with, is entrepreneurs. But it can also be to have the right relationships. It can also be to achieve anything you want. In this flow, this zone, is how you get there. And there are 3 keys. And I've taught this to lots of people, and it always works. The first and the most important one, Chris, is to get present. Now, I call that being hyper present. And the best way to get present is so simple. I meditate. So meditation is, to me, the practice of being present. But you can just take 3 slow, deep breaths, just like that. In and out. And it's amazing how your state will change in just 3 deep breaths. And then you've got to open your mind. We're talking about the mind and the consciousness to all possibilities. So, I'm a firm believer in having a strategic plan, knowing the steps, thinking about it logically. But I'm also a firm believer of being willing to throw that plan right out the window and turn on a dime. Because all of a sudden you meet somebody and you thought it was going to be 100 days, but you realize this person has all the connections you need, and you can do it right now. And then the third part, and this is really, to me, very spiritual, is living with authenticity. And a lot of people go, well, that sounds a little fluffy, so let's make it real. When you take your steps or you make your decision, they feel real to you. And that's different for each person. But we all know when something feels real, it feels right. Like, yeah, that's the right step. But here's the truth about wealth. Wealth comes from what we've been talking about. Wealth comes, and this is the abundance mindset, wealth comes from adding value, making an impact on other people's lives. And the last time I checked, Chris, there is no limit on the amount of impact any of us is allowed to make with our life. We can make just as much as we want.
There's no cap there's no ceiling there. Yeah.
So the more impact we make, and since people pay us for that impact, the more money that we can make. But here's the thing that scarcity people think there's this one pie. Abundance people realize there actually is no limit to the amount of impact, and therefore you're actually creating the wealth, as it were, out of thin air by creating impact for people. And you didn't take anything from anybody, because everybody else can do the same thing. And that's what Conscious Millionaire is really about, is making this massive impact, creating financial abundance for yourself, and then utilizing it to make it a better world, prepare for your retirement, live your life better, provide for your children, give to the causes you care about. You get to choose how you use this, and you can use it in all those ways. So if you go out and buy the Mercedes or whatever your car is, you didn't take anything away from anybody, because there's other abundance you can use in other ways.
That's right. the pie is so big, you'll never be able to eat it all. And there's always going to be
And
enough for
it ever
everyone.
expands. That's
Yeah.
exactly right, Chris.
Yeah.
You can't eat it all because it's going to keep growing.
That's right. I'm going to read just from a section of your book that tackles this exactly. Your book, Conscious Millionaire, Grow Your Business by Making a Difference. JV says, when your mind is filled with scarcity thoughts, it's difficult, if not impossible, to consistently be in your millionaire inner zone. And I'll talk about that in a moment as well. Therefore, rather than moving with the abundant flow of life, your scarcity actions actually result in your moving against it. With a negative reality inside your mind, your own beliefs and inner chatter act against you rather than in your best interest. Your scarcity beliefs literally block you from seeing the abundant opportunities all around you. One of the most prevalent scarcity thoughts is, wealth is a zero-sum game. When you think of wealth in this way, you falsely believe that for you to win, someone else must lose. And that's what we're talking about here, folks. Everyone can win.
You know, what would take a half a year typically for me to achieve in terms of my outcomes, my reaching out, closing clients, you know, expanding the company, achieving things with my podcast. If you want to excel, and if you want to live in the millionaire zone in a state of abundance, it is mind and body. You've got to get yourself out there and you've got to be willing to play at your highest levels. And here's what I've found. You create energy by doing things like that. It doesn't drain you. And that's what Michael Jordan learned. It doesn't drain you to constantly be challenging your cellular, conscious, mind, body structure, the whole being, your emotions, your spirit, the soul that you are. If you want to really be at your highest level, you must constantly be challenging yourself. And there is no end to the level that you can achieve. There's no end. There's no ultimate level and you got there. It's always about the journey.
Absolutely right. You're right. It is. It's and you see those bumper stickers or those signs everywhere. Life's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And it became a cliche, but it's one of the truer things that you'll ever hear. It's not that I got the championship trophy in my hand. It's the season that it took to build to that trophy. It's the practices, it's the memories, it's those games that you almost lost, that you ended up winning. That's what means more to all these champions, not the fact that, the trophy represents the hard work and it represents that they won and that they're the top dog. But they would trade that any day for those memories, right? And the journey that they were on to achieve that greatness.
Well, and the great thing about challenging yourself to live in this millionaire zone, to live at your peak over and over and over again, is it becomes self-reinforcing. But here's how that works, Chris. Now you have bigger reference points. So what's going to happen, I can guarantee it, I've experienced it, my clients experience it, I'm going, God, should I tell them the truth here? But I'm going to tell you the truth. The bigger you play, the bigger the challenges that are going to come your way. The bigger the peaks and the bigger the valleys. But you get through the valleys because you've got big peaks as a reference point and you know you can do it. And every time you go through that next valley, you come out stronger. I just want to say to everybody listening that you can live in complete and absolute abundance. And abundance isn't just about the car you drive. That's a piece of it. That's a symptom more than the true abundance. The abundance is living in a state of thriving, living in a state of purposefulness, living in a state where every day you feel like your life is of service to other human beings. And then you're the lucky person that they actually pay for it if you're an entrepreneur. And here's the joke, and all jokes are true, by the way. That's why they work. is that the real joke to all of this, and the real joke to Conscious Millionaire, is doing something that is so purposeful, that you're so in love with doing, that you would do it for free, but because you're living on purpose and making the impact you're on the planet to make, you actually make your millions in dollars by doing that. That's the joke, because you would still have done it for free. That's when you found your real truth.
That's pretty awesome. And that's absolutely how I would love our listeners to feel, and to be able to get themselves into that state of mind, or into that way of life, because we are fortunate here in Critical Bench to be living our truth. I'm doing what I was put on the earth to do, and to reach people, and to inspire people, and to get them to take action, and to care about their health and their fitness and their mental capacity. And in doing all of that, it does so much for us. To be able to share that message in our day-to-day work life, and to be able to put that out into the world, and then the feedback that you get from it's just cyclical. It just reinforces what you're doing, and it makes you want to do it more. Like you said, you never run out of that energy. Michael Jordan never ran out of that energy to be great, because
Right.
it's a constant reignition, right? It's just constantly coming back to you, and you're feeding off of it, and it's just getting you to do more, work harder, think bigger, and keep building on it.